It's late spring, the year 1600. Imagine the sun, a fiery orange ball casting long shadows over the rolling hills of Japan. Below, a battlefield is carved into the landscape, a place that will soon soak up the blood of thousands. But this isn't just another battle. What's about to unfold here is the end of an era, the dramatic final act for centuries of samurai tradition. Listen closely. Can you hear it? The thunderous, heart-pounding march of taiko war drums. The distant, chilling echo of clashing steel. This single moment right here is about to forever change the destiny of Japan. You are standing on the very edge of history, about to witness the last stand of the samurai. These legendary warriors, guided by their unshakable code of honor, Bushido, are about to become myth. Their time is running out. For centuries, Japan has been a land of feudal lords and samurai enforcers, but the winds of change are howling. At the heart of this storm is one man, Tokugawa Ieyasu, a brilliant, patient, and ruthless strategist. Ambition is singular and absolute to unite all of Japan under his iron will. His forces, the Eastern Army, are poised to strike. Opposing him is Ishida Mitsunari, a fiercely loyal samurai dedicated to the Toyotomi clan. He believes in a different future for Japan, one that honors the legacy of his late master. He has rallied the Western Army, a coalition of powerful lords who fear Ieyasu's ambition. Now, these two colossal armies are about to collide in a place called Sekigahara. This will become one of the bloodiest and most decisive battles in the nation's history. As you stand there, amidst the nervous whispers of soldiers checking their armor and sharpening their blades, there's a palpable chill in the air. It's not from the breeze, but from the chilling realization that the fate of a nation hangs in the balance. The samurai you see before you aren't just faceless soldiers. They are the last of their kind, the final generation to live and die by an ancient code. Their story is one of unwavering loyalty, unimaginable sacrifice, bitter betrayal, and profound honor, all playing out on a grand stage of political intrigue and brutal face-to-face conflict. This isn't just a battle for territory, it's a battle for the soul of Japan. It represents the death of a way of life that had defined the country for nearly 1,000 years. The age of the warrior is coming to a violent end, about to be replaced by an age of centralized rule and peace enforced by a new government, the Tokugawa shogunate, which would rule for over 250 years. The war drums grow louder, a relentless, deafening rhythm. The ground trembles. And then, a dark cloud fills the sky as the first volley of arrows is unleashed. This is it. This is where history is made. This is the last stand of the samurai. What followed the battle was the dawn of the Edo period, a long era of peace and isolation. The samurai, once masters of the battlefield, had to find a new purpose. Many became bureaucrats, scholars, or poets. Their swords, once symbols of power, became symbols of status, rarely drawn in anger. The code of Bushido transformed from a practical warrior's guide into a romanticized philosophy. The Battle of Sekigahara didn't just end a war, it closed a chapter on an entire class of people, turning them from fearsome warriors into legends of a bygone age. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey back in time. If you found this story as fascinating as I do, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into history. Let me know in the comments which historical event you'd like to see next. Till then, stay curious. morning air is thick, almost suffocating with tension. Before you lies the battlefield of Sekigahara, a vast, rugged expanse dotted with dense forests, rivers, and ridges. For now, it's eerily quiet. The distant chatter of birds is the only sound breaking the stillness. But you know this place will soon bear witness to the destruction of countless lives. You can feel the sheer weight of history pressing down on you as you stand at the valley's edge, where two great armies are about to converge. Behind you, Tokugawa Ieyasu's forces are assembling in perfect, disciplined formation. The banners of the Tokugawa clan flutter in the wind, bold, colorful, and commanding respect. Their leader, Tokugawa Ieyasu, is a man whose ambition has been sharpened by decades of political maneuvering. He has spent his life plotting, building alliances, and waiting patiently for the perfect moment to strike. And now, that moment has arrived. His army is filled with skilled warriors, samurai, who have pledged their undying loyalty to him, and he has the support of powerful feudal lords from across the land. Yet, even with all this power, there is a palpable sense of unease in the stillness of the morning. Ieyasu is not without his enemies, and his path to ultimate dominance is fraught with peril. Across the battlefield, the opposing forces of Ishida Mitsunari are gathering. Mitsunari, once a trusted ally of the late ruler of Japan, Toyotomi Hideyoshi is a man driven by a very different vision. His army is smaller, but fiercely loyal, made up of men who believe in preserving the legacy of the Toyotomi clan. His banners wave defiantly in the breeze, a clear signal of his unwavering determination to resist Tokugawa's rise to power. Mitsunari's forces are scattered across the landscape, hidden in forests and on hillsides, preparing to strike with the crucial element of surprise. His strategy is one of ambush, hoping to exploit any weakness he can find in Ieyasu's massive ranks. As you stand there, the sun climbs higher, casting long, ominous shadows across the valley. The war drums begin to beat, slowly at first like a distant storm gathering on the horizon. The air crackles with the energy of impending conflict. A chill runs down your spine as you watch the samurai prepare for what's to come. These are not just soldiers, they are legends in the making. Men who have devoted their entire lives to a code of honor that has defined the way of the sword for centuries. You feel the weight of this single moment settle on your shoulders. Is ISNT just another battle? It's the culmination of a long and bloody struggle for supremacy. It is the end of one era and the beginning of another. The samurai are warriors of the old world, bound by a strict code that demands absolute loyalty, courage, and sacrifice. But as the first glints of steel catch the light of dawn, you know this battle will be different. Not just about loyalty to one lord or another, it's about the very future of Japan itself. The armies are ready. You can hear the thunder of hooves as cavalry units move into position. The smell of sweat and steel fills the air. The soldiers are tense, their faces set with grim determination. For many of them, this will be their final battle. Some will die for their lord, others will die for their ideals. Some will die for nothing more than the cold whims of fate. The war drums beat louder now, the sound growing in intensity until it drowns out everything else. Your heart races in your chest as you realize that the moment has finally arrived. The battle for Japan's future is about to begin. Who will emerge victorious? Will the way of the samurai survive this onslaught of change, or will it be swept away in the unstoppable tide of history? Thank you so much for joining us on this journey back in time. If you found this story captivating, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into history's most epic moments. We'll see you in the next one. The ground trembles as the war drums reach a deafening crescendo. Suddenly, the entire battlefield erupts. Thousands of armored warriors charge into the fray, their synchronized steps shaking the very earth. The air is thick with the shriek of clashing steel, the cries of men in mortal combat, and the rhythmic thud of arrows finding their mark. For a moment, you're stunned by the sheer scale of the violence, as if the world itself has been consumed by the fury of war. You stand at the edge of the chaos, unable to look away. The samurai move with deadly purpose, their katanas flashing in the sun as they cut down anyone in their path. The battle lines are drawn, but it's impossible to tell who will prevail. On one side, Tokugawa Ieyasu's forces press forward, their disciplined ranks making slow, steady progress. This is an army forged in years of warfare, each warrior a finely honed instrument of destruction. They move as one, united and relentless. In the opposite corner, Ishida Mitsunari's men fight with a different kind of fire. They are emboldened by their loyalty to the Toyotomi cause, striking with a fierce passion. Their hearts burn with a desire to see their lord's legacy restored. Their tactics are unorthodox, their movements unpredictable, and you can see the desperation in their eyes. They fight not just for survival, but for a cause they believe is worth dying for. Every warrior knows this is not just another fight. This is the culmination of decades of struggle, the clash of two visions for the future of Japan. Will it be Tokugawa's promise of stability and order, or Ishida's dream of restoring a fallen dynasty? You watch in awe as the samurai dance across the battlefield in a deadly ballet, their movements a blur of grace and lethality. It's a maelstrom of violence, a whirlwind of chaos. Then, something shifts. The ground trembles again, but this time it's different. From behind Tokugawa's lines, you hear a thunderous roar. Cavalry, their charge is a turning point. The hooves of their horses pound the earth with terrifying speed, their lances and swords gleaming like lightning. Ishida Mitsunari's forces are caught completely off guard. The charge is overwhelming, a tidal wave of steel and fury crashing against a fragile shore. Men fall like leaves in a storm, swept away by the relentless onslaught. The roar of the horses, the cries of the dying, the clash of swords, it's all one chaotic blur. But amidst the madness, one thing is clear. This is the moment that will decide the fate of Japan. You can see it in the eyes of the samurai as they fight with everything they have left. Their spirits bound by honor, but their bodies failing under the weight of fatigue and fear. You see the resolve in Ieyasu's eyes as he watches the tide turn in his favor. Victory is within his grasp, but the cost is staggering. But wait, just when all seems lost, something unexpected happens. Amidst the carnage, a small group of Ishida samurai, led by a fearsome warrior, rallies their comrades with defiant cries. It's as if the very soul of the samurai has been awakened, their swords cut through the chaos with renewed precision and deadly intent. They are the last hope for Mitsunari's cause, and you can feel the weight of their desperation in every single strike. As the battle rages on, you realize this isn't just a fight for territory, it's a battle for the soul of Japan. Will the old ways of the samurai endure, or will the winds of change sweep everything away? The blood of fallen warriors soaks the ground. The stench of death hangs heavy in the air. The outcome of this day will echo through history for centuries to come, and you are here to witness it all. Thanks for watching this epic moment in history with us. If you were captivated by the clash of samurai, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the past. We'll see you in the next one. The battlefield is a sea of blood and steel. Amid the chaos, something else stirs in the air. The battle rages on, but beneath the clang of swords and the roar of war cries, there is a whisper, a murmur growing louder with each passing moment. What's a whisper of betrayal? You can see it in the eyes of the soldiers around you. The loyalty that once bound them to their lords begins to fracture like a shattered mirror. Some are starting to waver, their conviction faltering as the tides of battle shift unpredictably. war, alliances can be fragile, especially when the price of victory is so high. But what is unfolding here is something darker, more insidious. Tokugawa Ieyasu, ever the shrewd strategist, had long relied on the loyalty of his allies. He had spent years building a web of political connections, drawing in daimyo who would support his claim to power. But as the battle at Sekigahara progresses, cracks begin to appear. The forces of his rival, Ishida Mitsunari, though outnumbered, are putting up a fierce resistance, causing doubt to creep into the minds of Tokugawa's followers. One of Ieyasu's most trusted commanders, a man named Kobayaka Hideaki, stands at a pivotal point on the battlefield. You watch as he hesitates, his gaze flicking between his own men and the advancing forces of Mitsunari. The whispers grow louder. Kobayaka's decision will determine the fate of this battle, and perhaps the future of Japan itself. In the distance, you see Kobayaka's banner fluttering in the wind. For a moment, it seems like a beacon of hope for Ieyasu's forces, but the tension is palpable. You know that Kobayaka had once fought alongside Mitsunari under Toyotomi Hideyoshi, but his alliance with Tokugawa has always been tenuous. The shadow of doubt looms over him. Has the temptation to switch sides become too great? Then, with a sudden, shattering clarity, the decision is made. A cry goes out across the battlefield. Kobayaka has betrayed Ieyasu. Without warning, his forces pivot. Instead of continuing to fight against Mitsunari's men, they turn their weapons against their former allies. The sudden betrayal sends shockwaves through Ieyasu's ranks, and for a moment, the world feels as though it is spinning out of control. You can hear the gasp of disbelief from the samurai around you. Their faces reflect shock, confusion, and anger. This is the moment that will define the battleland, perhaps the course of history. Ieyasu's forces are thrown into disarray as Kobayaka's men launch their assault from behind. For a moment, it feels as though victory is slipping away from Tokugawa's grasp. The battlefield, once a carefully orchestrated dance of strategy, now feels like a wasteland of broken promises. But Tokugawa Ieyasu is not a man easily defeated. In the midst of the confusion, his resolve hardens like iron. You watch as he rallies his commanders, his voice cutting through the noise like a blade. His strategy is quick and brutal. He knows the battle is not lost, but it is now a test of strength, resolve, and cunning. Tokugawa's forces, despite the blow, begin to reorganize, pulling together as one cohesive unit. You can see the shift in the air as the battle begins to turn once more. The samurai, under Tokugawa's banner, though shaken, remain disciplined. Their sense of honor demands that they fight on, and the betrayal they've just witnessed only sharpens their resolve. They are not just fighting for their lord, they are fighting for their way of life. The betrayal of one man will not undo centuries of tradition. Meanwhile, across the battlefield, the forces of Mitsunari seem to gain momentum. The shock of Kobayaka's defection is a bitter victory, but a victory nonetheless. For a brief moment, it seems like Mitsunari's forces might turn the tide. But the gap in experience and discipline between the two armies becomes apparent. Mitsunari's warriors, while filled with passion, lack the cohesion and military prowess that Tokugawa's men possess. The battle rages on, but you can already feel the weight of the betrayal settling in your gut. It is not just the betrayal of a single commander, it is the betrayal of an entire world. The samurai, who have long prided themselves on loyalty and honor, are now forced to confront the reality that even they are not immune to the fickle winds of fate. The betrayal of Kobayaka is a reflection of the broader struggle for power that has torn Japan apart for years. In this war, alliances are fleeting and loyalty is a commodity. But in the heart of this betrayal, one thing becomes clear: the samurai way, as it has existed for centuries, is beginning to crumble. Tokugawa may be the man who unites Japan, but the cost of that unity will be more than anyone could have imagined. Thank you for joining me on this journey into one of history's most dramatic moments. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, please hit that like button and subscribe for more tales from the past. See you in the next one. The battlefield has become an unrecognizable storm of violence. What were once pristine, disciplined formations have dissolved into a chaotic, desperate struggle for survival. Men clash like animals, their cries swallowed by the overwhelming din of war. But amidst this carnage, something has changed. Tokugawa Ieyasu's forces are rallying. The defection of Kobayaka Hideaki was a devastating blow, but Ieyasu has always been a master of recovery. It's not just his army that stands firm. It's his mind calculating, ever the strategist that allows his forces to regroup and continue the fight. You can see the Tokugawa samurai, despite the shock of betrayal, regain their composure. Their armor, streaked with dirt and blood, gleams once again in the morning light as they reform their lines. The air is thick with the smell of sweat, blood, and smoke. Each breath feels heavy as the weight of the battle bears down on you. The clash of swords, the snap of arrows, sits a sound that will stay with you forever. In the distance, Tokugawa Ieyasu stands at the edge of the fray, a calm presence amidst the madness. You can see him giving orders, his eyes sharp with determination. His face is impassive, betraying no emotion, but his grip on his katana tightens. This is a man who understands war, who knows that victory is not merely a matter of strength, but of timing, resilience, and seizing the right opportunity. He is waiting for that moment, the moment when his enemies slip up, when their will falters. He's patient, and that patience is about to pay off. Across the field, Ishida Mitsunari's forces are not so fortunate. Despite their initial advantage, their lines are beginning to waver. Mitsunari's strategy had relied heavily on the shock of Kobayakawa's betrayal, but now that advantage is slipping away. The Toyotomi loyalists, while passionate, are starting to feel the immense weight of the battle. The tide of war has turned. It's not just that they are outnumbered, it's that the will of their fighters is beginning to crumble. You can see it in their eyes. The fatigue, the fear creeping in. Their cries are no longer as fierce, their movements slower, more disjointed. The turning point comes when Tokugawa's forces, now reorganized, press forward with renewed vigor. The cavalry, once disoriented, surges ahead. Their horses gallop with terrifying speed, their lances raised high. The ground trembles as they charge through the ranks of Mitsunari's men. The force of the charge is overwhelming. You can hear the screams of men being trampled, their bodies crushed beneath the weight of horses, their blood staining the earth. It is a brutal, unforgiving attack that leaves no room for mercy. The battle seems to shift in an instant. Mitsunari's men break apart, their lines crumbling under the relentless assault. The once confident warriors of the Toyotomi cause now seem like little more than a desperate mob. It's as if the samurai code of Bushido, their deep sense of loyalty and honor, has been betrayed not just by Kobayaka, but by the very ideals that sustained them. The realization hangs in the air. This battle is lost. Amid the chaos, you notice a figure at the front, Ishida Mitsunari himself. He stands firm, his sword raised high, trying to rally his forces. His voice cuts through the carnage, a final cry of defiance. But even as he shouts, you can see the doubt in his eyes. He knows the battle is slipping through his fingers. It's a loyal samurai fight with everything they have left. But it's clear now they are outclassed and outmaneuvered. The moment of reckoning has arrived. Mitsunari's men begin to retreat, but their escape is blocked by Tokugawa's forces. The samurai of Tokugawa fight with a ferocity born of necessity. They fall here, Japan will be plunged into further chaos. The ground is littered with the bodies of the fallen, the cries of the dying blending into an unholy symphony of war. You see the faces of men who will never see another sunrise, the desperation in their eyes as they try to hold on to life. The roar of Tokugawa's forces reaches a crescendo as they overwhelm the last pockets of resistance. The sound of sword on sword, of screams, of the earth itself shaking, becomes deafening. You can feel the tension in the air as victory looms, but it is not a sweet victory. It is one earned in blood and sacrifice. And then, as the final resistance crumbles, you see at the end of the battle, Ishida Mitsunari, his sword still raised, is captured. His face is a mask of rage and disbelief as he is dragged from the field. His once loyal forces are shattered. The samurai who fought for him lie dead in the dirt, their honor stripped from them. As the dust settles, a heavy silence falls. The victory is Tokugawa's, but the cost is steep. The samurai have fought their last war. Their way of life is undone, and the world is changing before their very eyes. Thanks for watching. If you found this journey into the past compelling, please like this video and subscribe for more stories from history. We'll see you in the next one. The battlefield is quieter now, though the air is thick with the stench of death. The sounds of clashing swords have faded, replaced by the mournful wails of the wounded, and that eerie stillness that always follows the storm of war. The bodies of the fallen samurai and common soldier alike lie scattered across the earth. The once vibrant banners that waved so proudly now hang limp, stained by blood and dust. The cries of the injured are drowned out by the relentless work of soldiers gathering the dead, sorting through the remains of what was once a world defined by honor, loyalty, and sacrifice. You stand at the edge of the battlefield, watching the soldiers of Tokugawa Ieyasu move methodically among the fallen. They check for survivors, collect weapons, and secure the field. Their faces are grim, their eyes hollow from the toll of battle. Some are wounded, but there is no time to mourn. There is only the work that must be done. Victory has been claimed, but its cost is evident in the broken bodies and fractured lives all around you. In the midst of this quiet aftermath, Tokugawa Ieyasu steps forward, his presence commanding respect. Years of political maneuvering, of waiting for the right moment, have finally paid off. His ambition to unite Japan under his rule is now within reach. Yet as you watch him, it's not joy that marks his face, but a solemn understanding of what this victory truly means. Ieyasu knows the price of his success has been steep, paid in the blood of samurai like you, like the men who once stood by his side. And then you see them, the last remnants of the samurai order who remain loyal to the ideals of Bushido. They stand, though their numbers are few. Their swords are sheathed, their faces a mask of stoic resolve. These men, who have fought for centuries under the banner of honor, now stand at the precipice of a new world, one where their way of life is slowly being crushed under the weight of change. The samurai code, which once defined Japan, is being undone, replaced by the new order Tokugawa will impose. Among them, you spot a lone figure. His armor is battered, worn from the rigors of battle. He walks with a heavy gait, his face scarred from years of war. His eyes are distant, as if he's staring not at the present, but at the past, at a time when the samurai were the heart of Japan's military and social structure. His name is Toshiro. Once a fierce warrior under the Toyotomi banner, he now stands as a living testament to the fading glory of the samurai. His spirit, though not broken, is weary. He fought to the last for a cause he knew was doomed, and now, as he looks around the battlefield, it is clear the world he once knew is gone. Toshiro's hands rest on the hilt of his katana, his fingers tracing the familiar curve of the blade. He stares at the blood-stained ground beneath him, reflecting on the life he has led. In his heart, there is no joy for Tokugawa's victory. There is only a deep, aching loss, the loss of a way of life that had sustained his ancestors for generations. The samurai code, so ingrained in his soul, is slipping away, and with it, the very essence of who he is. You watch as Toshiro approaches Tokugawa Ieyasu, the man who has won this war, the man who will forge a new era for Japan. There is a moment of silence between them, a moment that stretches longer than you expect. Toshiro is not here to challenge Ieyasu, nor to offer his loyalty. He is here to understand, to face the inevitable. The samurai, in their final moments, have always understood the nature of defeat. The fate of their kind was sealed the moment Tokugawa's victory was assured. They are warriors, bound by honor and duty, but they are also men who know when to accept the end. Tokugawa meets his gaze, and in his eyes, there is a flicker of recognition. Ieyasu understands the weight of what has been lost. His gaze lingers on Toshiro, and for a brief moment, you sense the quiet respect between them two men, both shaped by war, bound by their roles in this moment of history. Then, in a voice that is both firm and almost sympathetic, Tokugawa speaks. The night falls quickly, draping the battlefield in a heavy blanket of darkness. The cries of the wounded are drowned out by the distant sound of marching footsteps as Tokugawa soldiers secure the surrounding hills. Fires flicker dimly, casting an eerie glow on the dead and dying. As the moon rises, its pale light reflects off the blood-soaked ground, a haunting reminder of the sacrifice that has been made. The world feels suspended in Taman. Uneasy stillness hangs in the air, as though Japan itself is holding its breath, waiting for what comes next. For Tokugawa Ieyasu, the victory at Sekigahara is both a triumph and a moment of profound introspection. He stands alone in his tent, the flickering light of a single lantern illuminating his features. His face, normally stoic and unreadable, shows the weight of his choices. The battle is over, but the real work has only just begun. The warlords who once commanded armies are now defeated, their fate sealed. The samurai, the once untouchable elite of Japan, are now relics of a fading past. The dawn of a new era is upon them, and Tokugawa knows that the future of Japan rests squarely on his shoulders. He looks out through the tent flap, his eyes scanning the distant horizon. The winds are shifting, and with them, the winds of change. His mind races, calculating the steps needed to bring peace to a fractured nation. There will be no more civil wars, no more chaos. The time of the samurai is over. The time of the shogunate has arrived. His eyes narrow as he imagines the world he is about to create. A world united under a single banner, where the samurai's role is relegated to that of ceremonial guardians. He knows the cost of this peace. The samurai, once the backbone of Japan's military might, are now expendable. Their strength, their pride, and their honor will no longer be enough to preserve their place in the world. They will be sidelined in favor of a more centralized, bureaucratic rule. Their swords, once an extension of their very souls, will be taken from them, replaced by the policies of a new order. Footsteps approach. One of Tokugawa's most trusted generals enters the tent, bound. The years pass swiftly, and the world that once reverberated with the sounds of battle now hums with the quiet rhythm of a unified Japan. The dust of Sekigahara has long settled, and with it, the final remnants of the samurai's warlike age. Yet, as the years unfold, the legacy of these warriors lingers, a shadow that stretches long across Japan's new landscape. In the years following the battle, Tokugawa Ieyasu moves swiftly to consolidate his power. The Tokugawa shogunate takes root, ushering in a new era of stability, one that will last for more than 2 centuries. Under his rule, Japan experiences an unprecedented period of peace. The civil wars that once tore the country apart are no more. With this newfound stability comes economic prosperity, and Japan begins to evolve into a society more focused on trade, culture, and internal development than on war. But beneath this new facade of order, the remnants of the samurai class find themselves displaced. No longer are they the warriors at the front lines of battle. The role of the samurai is slowly rewritten. They are now bureaucrats, administrators, and scholars, their swords no longer drawn in battle, but resting idle, collecting dust. The honor of the samurai, once defined by their bravery on the battlefield, is now reserved for their ability to navigate the halls of power, to hold sway over the politics of the court. You can see it in the eyes of the few remaining samurai, their spirits caught between 2 worlds, the old world of battle and the new world of peace. For some, this transition is a painful one. Their swords, once extensions of their very souls, now sit in quiet display cases, symbols of a time long past. They wander the streets of Edo, which we now know as Tokyo, their armor less ornate, their faces less fierce. Their honor is still intact, but now redefined in a world that no longer values their martial skills. Let's imagine we meet an old samurai on one such street. His name is Kato, and though his hair is graying and his body no longer as strong as it once was, his eyes burn with the fire of a warrior who has seen the world change, yet remains resolute in his identity. Kato fought at Sekigahara, though he was not a man of great renown. He was a foot soldier, a loyal samurai who fought for the Toyotomi cause and saw his world crumble in the aftermath of Tokugawa's victory. Now, years later, Kato is a mere shadow of his former self, standing in the quiet marketplace of Edo. He watches as people bustle around him, their lives seemingly unaffected by the changes that have swept through Japan. He is still a samurai, but no one can see it not in the way he carries himself or the glint of steel at his side. There is no honor in his sword anymore. It is just a symbol of a forgotten time. His duty now is to survive, to live quietly in a world that has no place for men like him. Kato, though weary, still carries the old code within him. He knows that the samurai way is no longer practical in this new era, but it is still a part of him. He walks with dignity, his back straight, even though the world no longer asks for it. Every now and then, he encounters another like Hima, fading relic of a time that no one remembers except in stories. Stories that are becoming more distant with every passing year. As you talk to Kato, you hear the ache in his voice. He speaks not of victory or defeat, but of something far deeper, the loss of purpose. The world he fought for no longer exists. The emperor's authority has been reduced to a ceremonial figurehead, and the power is firmly held in the hands of Tokugawa and his descendants. The samurai once fought for honor, for a world where loyalty and bravery were the highest virtues. But now, in this time of peace, what are they to do? What is left when the enemy is no longer a warlord or an invading army, but the erosion of their own identity? Oh, you must understand, Kato says softly. We were not just soldiers. We were guardians of a way of life. We protected honor, loyalty, and duty with our swords. But now, what do we protect? The peace. The politics of a new age that doesn't care for us. Our blades have no place here anymore. As Kato speaks, you begin to see the tragedy of the samurai's fate more clearly. The samurai were not merely warriors. They were the embodiment of an entire ethos, a way of thinking that valued sacrifice above all else. And in this new world, that ethos no longer holds the same weight. It is a world where merchants and scholars rise to prominence, where warriors are no longer needed. The samurai, once at the top of the social hierarchy, now find themselves relegated to the margins of a peaceful society they helped create. Their purpose is no longer defined by battle, but by the roles they carve out in a world that has moved on. And yet, despite this, the legacy of the samurai persists in the hearts of many. Their code of honor, the Bushido, continues to influence Japanese society, even if it is no longer followed in the same way. The values of discipline, loyalty, and courage are still revered, but they have evolved, adapted to the demands of a new time. In the quiet, everyday lives of the people, the samurai spirit lives on, not in the sword, but in the actions of those who strive for excellence, for honor in their daily lives, in their work, and in their relationships. Kato's story, and the stories of so many others like him, are not just about the death of an eri. The battlefield at Sekigahara, where blood was spilled and destinies were forged, now lies silent. The clash of steel has faded into the past, but the legacy of the samurai endures, woven into the very fabric of Japan. These noble warriors fought, bled, and died for a code of honor, and though they no longer ride into battle, their spirit lingers, like a whisper, through the bamboo groves. Their story is not just one of war, it's a story of loyalty, sacrifice, and the relentless pursuit of an ideal. While Aziz's decisive victory at Sekigahara didn't just end a war, it sealed the fate of an entire class of warriors and, in doing so, shaped the future of a nation. Under his rule, Japan entered an unprecedented era of peace and stability. The Tokugawa shogunate would govern for over 250 years, a time of profound change. During this long peace, the samurai's role was fundamentally redefined. Their swords, once a symbol of their power, were slowly sheathed. The warrior became a bureaucrat, a scholar, an administrator. Their martial prowess gave way to civil service. But even as their status as fighters diminished, the essence of their code, Bushido, did not vanish. It continued to resonate, a silent promise of discipline and integrity. The spirit of Bushido, the way of the warrior, found a new battlefield. Not one of mud and blood, but in the bustling streets of Edo and Kyoto. In the quiet contemplation of a tea ceremony, in the precise strokes of calligraphy, and in the very structure of Japanese society. It survived not as a relic of war, but as a guiding philosophy. A reminder that honor, discipline, and loyalty are the foundations upon which a nation can be built. The stories of their courage were told and retold, carrying the torch of the past into a new era. Looking back across the sweep of history, we see the truth. The samurai were more than just warriors. They were the soul of Japan. They embodied the struggles, the triumphs, and the contradictions of a nation in constant evolution. Their decline reminds us that even the most steadfast traditions are fragile. Change, like a tidal wave, is inevitable. Reshapes everything in its path, whether we are ready or not. But the samurai's legacy, though altered, was not erased. It echoes in our modern world, not as a call to violence, but as a moral compass. It's a call to live with integrity, to act with honor, and to face life's challenges with the same unyielding courage that once defined these legendary figures. The final chapter of The Samurai is not a story of defeat, but of profound transformation. It's the story of how a warrior class, once dominant and feared, gave way to a new age. And yet, even as they faded from the battlefield, the ideals they championed remained etched into the collective memory of a nation. Their courage is not going to live on in the quiet strength of those who walk in their footsteps today. In the hearts of all who still believe that honor is something worth fighting for, the samurai may have fallen, but their spirit endures. A timeless message echoing across the centuries, reminding us that the greatest battles are not fought with the sword, but within the heart. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the past. If you found this story as fascinating as I do, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into history. We'll see you in the next one. Hey everyone, thanks for sticking with us on this incredible journey through the rise and fall of the samurai. It's been a wild ride, hasn't it? From their humble beginnings as provincial warriors to becoming the undisputed masters of Japan, the samurai carved out a legacy that still echoes today. We've seen how their code, Bushido, wasn't just about swordsmanship. It was a profound philosophy that shaped their entire existence: loyalty, honor, and a serene acceptance of life's impermanence. Think about it. These weren't just characters from an old story. They were real people who lived, fought, and died by this code. We explored the epic Genpei War, where clans clashed in a struggle for ultimate power. And we witnessed the golden age under the shogunate, where samurai culture truly blossomed. The tea ceremonies, the poetry, the Zen gardens, all of it was intertwined with the warrior's path, creating a unique blend of martial prowess and artistic sensitivity. It's this very duality that makes them so captivating, don't you think? But as we saw, all eras must come to an end. The arrival of Western powers and the Meiji Restoration brought sweeping changes that the samurai class could withstand. Their swords were set aside, their top knots cut, and their role in society was forever altered. Yet, to say they simply vanished would be a mistake. Their spirit didn't just disappear, it transformed. Seeped into the very foundations of modern Japan. It's influencing everything from business ethics to martial arts and the national identity. As we close this chapter, let's reflect on the lessons they left behind. The resilience to face adversity, the discipline to master one's craft, and the courage to stand for what you believe in. The story of the samurai is a powerful reminder that while empires may fall and weapons may rust, the ideals of honor and inner strength can endure for centuries. Their legacy is a testament to the human spirit's capacity for both fierce determination and profound grace. If you found this journey into the world of the samurai as fascinating as I did, do us a huge favor and hit that subscribe button for Echoes of War. We're passionate about bringing history's greatest warriors to life, and we've got so many more stories to tell. fact, stay tuned for our next episode, where we'll be diving into another epic tale from the annals of history. Thanks so much for watching, and remember, the echoes of the past are always with us if we just listen.